Dylan, Guenther, Barrett Hayton joining us in studio.
Good job
here.
by you.
It should probably intro, right? Be polite. The Canadian in the room took care of that. There's a slight level of awkwardness maybe sitting there with your whole team there kind of watching your family deliver that news, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it was coming, but I mean, a little bit embarrassing when I see my mom pop up on the screen, and but no, it's really cool. I think along with you know, the crazy 2 months it's been, you know, playing your first game and stuff, that's another thing that you know, I'll never forget. So it was pretty cool.
Let me ask you, you're in the room sitting there for that. I mean, what's the feeling amongst the players? Because I agree with you, there's probably a little bit of awkwardness. How is it for you guys?
Yeah, I think coming in, that was his 10th game there. Everyone kind of knew something was going to happen. So, like Gun said there, pretty cool they let their family do it and send that message. So all the guys were really happy. As you said, it was kind of funny. Guntz was a little red face up there. It was fun.
We all would be in that moment, I think, right?
Of course, yeah.
But congratulations, because a huge achievement that you work your whole life for. So it shouldn't be understated for sure. Well, you guys are in New York now. You're on this 14-game, crazy long road trip. But you guys are still like new to the whole pro hockey player thing, right? So I imagine being on the road. I know you're used to traveling, coming up, playing competitive hockey, but not when you're in the show, when you're having nice dinners in New York City. I assume you guys are having a blast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the road's a lot of fun. Like you said, we have this road trip, and whatever we're on right now, the 14 games, it's pretty cool. Go out for nice dinners, kind of
team
fun.
bonding.
Check out these team bonding, all that stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, 14, let's roll that back a little bit, right? Like, you just get, oh yeah, it's a 14-game road trip. Like, that happens, like, that's not something that happens all the time. I don't care if you were in the Sioux or you're in Edmonton, wherever you are, it doesn't happen all the time. I mean, as you approach something like this, how did you look at it? Like, that's kind of daunting.
Yeah, I think for me, it's almost a good thing. I mean, coming in, you're a new guy, so it's a good opportunity to, I mean, bond with the teammates, get to know guys more. I mean, you know, when you're on the road, that's really all you're spending time with is your teammates. So the older guys have been good. You know, Krauser took a few of us younger guys out for dinner, so I think that was really nice of him, and it's been a lot of fun.
I'll ask you guys about Mullett Arena. Obviously, that's part of the reason you're on this long 14-game road trip. My husband was at the home opener. He thought it was great. He thought it was a good atmosphere. He's like, I don't think there's a bad seat in the house there, no matter where you're watching. He goes, I am curious what the players think about it. What was it like from your perspective playing in that barn?
Yeah, it was really cool. Like you said, the home opener, really, we played 4 games there so far, and every night it's been rowdy, it's been loud.
Yeah.
It's pretty unique. I mean, every seat in that house is unreal, and they get chants going. They have that drum band. It's a crazy atmosphere. It's been fun so far.
Is it, from a hockey perspective, I mean, the rink is still 200 by 85, right? So that's the same. But is it different in terms of sight lines and anything else that would happen normally in the game?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it feels the same. It's just as loud as the big rink is, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I was super pumped to go there, the younger crowd, and you know, kind of just that packed stadium. You feel like the fans are kind of all over you when you're playing. So it's pretty cool, and I really enjoyed playing there.
Take us inside the mindset of your squad this year. You guys have had some wins over some really good teams to start the season. You've got a top 3 power play in the NHL, which EJ brings up every day. I love it, because credit where credit is due. What's the mindset in the room, right? Because expectations, you guys, they're low coming into the season, but you go out there and you beat some good teams. I assume the boys get ramped up for that. What's it like in the room before a game and maybe after a big win?
I mean, it's awesome. It's always fun to win, and I think you know, how we're doing it is great. I mean, we're working really hard, you know, not just in the games, but in practice every day. I think we're a pretty detail-oriented team, and we take pride in that, in our structure and our hard work, and it's been working for us. So we're just going to, you know, keep riding it and hopefully keep rolling.
Barrett, you've been there a couple of years now, so for you, you could probably see the difference. I mean, you're still a very young player in this league. But last year it was a little bit of an older team. You had some older guys there, kind of on expiring contracts. This year they've turned it over to more of the younger guys. You have someone like Dylan here coming in at 19. What is the difference, do you think, in the room, and maybe the way that you guys are kind of receiving the message from the coach, and maybe not worried about expectations at all because you're young guys thinking, hey, we're pretty good? we can hang.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, I mean, being there for a couple of years now, the team dynamic has kind of shifted. I think last year, those older guys you mentioned, Jay Beagle, Andrew Ladd, guys like that, so valuable to young teams and the leadership they brought and all that. And I think it's been cool so far this year seeing that switch. Obviously, those guys at the end of their career and kind of turning over to some of the younger guys taking that lead, seeing what an impact those older guys had last year and the dynamic changing. Those Clayton Kellers, Lawson Krauses, Christian Fishers, those guys taking a big charge in the dressing room. And it's been awesome so far.
And, you know, I would say that's an important thing because I've seen it over time is that when you have older guys in the room, you tend to defer a little bit, right? Like you're younger guys, you're trying to find your way, you're trying to fit in the room the right way. You're not going to stand up and you're not going to if one of the older guys looking for the puck, you get him the puck, right? Even though it may not be the right situation. So I think there's always that, we see it over many years. You turn over to new guys, and I think the young guys are really taking it up a notch. Clayton Keller certainly looks like he's taking his game to another place.
Oh, for sure. I think that's such a big thing. Coming into the league, obviously you want to have an impact, but at the same time, you're so young, you're trying to learn, you're trying to see how these guys have had success. And it's kind of the changing of the torch. You've seen Kells last year, the year he had. He took a big step, and he's been unreal to start this year as well. So I think that's a prime example of that.
Dylan, let me ask you this. I ask a lot of players new to the league this question. Has there been a guy across the ice from you yet that tripped you out? You're just like, oh my God, Alex Ovechkin is across from me right now. Has that happened yet? And if it hasn't, what player is going to sort of like trip you out? Like, oh wow, I am in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a player like that on every team. But I mean, like you said, Ovechkin, that was a special one. I mean, for me growing up, being a guy who liked to score goals, I think watching him a ton it was pretty special. And then I lined up on the draw against him for the face-off, and he's leaning into me. It's pretty cool. I mean, he's huge, and
he's big.
Yeah,
he's a big guy.
It's surreal. You feel like you know, it's not real almost. So at the same time, you got to be competing with him, but it is pretty special to kind of get that moment and that opportunity for the first time.
Is there any chit-chat with some of these guys like that? I mean, he leans in. I mean, I don't know if he says anything, but are you get into it like a little bit of chirping with some of these guys, and you're like, well, I just chirped this Sidney Crosby or this guy. Has that happened at all?
Not for me. I'm more quiet on the ice. I don't like to, you know, chirp guys and whatnot.
You haven't run across Matthew Tkachuk then, I guess.
We played against him, but
he was leaving you alone.
Yeah, he wasn't too rowdy that game. Okay. So not for me, but I think that'd be pretty cool, you know, if one of those guys came up from the draw. How
about for you? Because you've been in the league now a little bit. I mean, sure, you've had a few. You get your nose in there.
Yeah, a bit. I think. Kind of like Guns, don't really get into it too much, but yeah, there's definitely those scuffles, things in front of the net, stuff like that. You're grabbing guys, and I remember my first year had a situation like that with Crosby, and he was my idol growing up, and that was a crazy situation. Kind of in the moment, you don't even think about it after the game. You're like, kind of eye-opening there for sure, but yeah, no.
What do you say to Crosby too? And you're like new in the league, and like you get into a conversation on the ice. Like, what am I gonna say?
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I saw a video go viral on the internet, so I'm kind of putting you guys on the spot a little bit. But they asked a team, like, who on your roster or on your team talks the most about their junior and/or college career? Like, who's always like talking about their glory days, so to speak, in college or junior? Is there a guy on the team that does that?
I mean, we just won the championship, so I brought
There it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty fresh for me, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone said me bringing it up. I mean, Dyson Mayo is also another guy who played for the Oil Kings as well a few years before I did, and I remember watching him growing up, and they won a Memorial Cup, and he's not shy to tell me that because we came up short in that one.
I'm sure he's happy as a young player in the league to hear a guy even younger.
Yeah.
You know, guys are moving up the age ladder pretty quick when it comes to these things. You know, you brought up the power play before, so I got to ask you guys. I mean, it was surprising. Let's face it. I mean, I know you have some guys that can get it done there because Gostisbehere's a really good guy at the point, and Keller's terrific off the half wall, and you've got some really young talent like yourself. But this is, I think it was the third best power play in the league. You ended up with a power play goal last night that helped you, really the only goal that was scored until an empty netter at the end beat the Islanders on the road. What's going on with this power play? Why has it been so successful? I'll start with the veteran of the group here. With you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, like you said, it's been so good so far. We have those key pieces who can get the job done, but I think it's also been a good dynamic having both sides. Obviously, you got Kells, Ghost, those guys. Richie's been unreal in the middle there, and then when they maybe have had an off night, our unit's done a good job. I think Matthias Michelli's another young guy.
He's leading the team in power play points, I'm pretty sure, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's done such a good job. He's so talented, so skilled on the half wall. So our unit clicking, their unit clicking. Like you said last night, that play between Kells and Boydie, huge play in that game. It's a 0-0 game up to that point. So I think it's been a good dynamic kind of between the two units.
I like there's a slight humble brag there. Both units clicking. Not even just one. Yeah, both units. It's not a big deal. Third in the show.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of young people that watch our show because we're on from 4 to 6. It's just a time slot where people are home from school and whatever. So we got a lot of young players that watch. What's the best piece of advice that either of you guys has gotten along the way that you would pass on to someone that is kind of coming up and playing hockey that's, you know, 11, 12, whatever years old? I'll start with you.
I think just never being complacent and always working hard. I mean, there's always someone somewhere who's working hard and who's better than you. I mean, you're never, you know, at the top and the best of the best. So I think just continuing to work hard, you know, stay modest, don't let the past kind of get to you, and just continue to focus on the present and try to get better every day.
It's a good one there. It's tough to top that. Yeah, seriously. I might take a different route. I think just continuing to love the game. I think obviously as you grow, it's such a commitment. But really the bottom line is if you love it, you're going to do what Guns just said there. So continue to have fun, love the game. And
I love that, actually. I think that's great advice, because I do think a lot of people in all walks of life, whatever you're doing, when you start to put so much pressure on yourself that you're not enjoying what you're doing anymore, then it becomes problematic, right? Because if you're going to be miserable but successful, it's like, well, this isn't a good time. So I think that's great advice.
Hey, you know, I wanted to ask both of you guys, because you're both top 10 picks in the draft, so there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. When did you guys both, what age did you guys realize, like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and maybe I could, because that's a dream, right, to get to the NHL. You're a little kid, you're in the driveway, you're on the rink, you're practicing, like, I want to get to the NHL. But at what point did it become like, that's a real possibility? I'll start with you, Dylan.
I think probably just going through the Bantam draft in the Western Hockey League. I mean, it's a big thing. It's a year before all the other drafts. So
that's like what, 14?
Yeah, 15. I just turned 15 when I'd been drafted. So it's a big thing, and you get to play games kind of during your 15-year-old season. So I think during then, you know, you don't really know where you're going to go, and once you know, you find that out, it gives you a good amount of confidence, and you feel good. And I think then that's kind of when I start to take it a bit more seriously.
How about you, Barrett?
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to pinpoint a certain point. I think growing up, that's always the dream to play, and in the back of your mind, that's always kind of the only thing you think that's plan A. And
and there was no reason to go to plan A.
Oh, exactly.
Because you were rolling along.
Yeah, you do everything you can, and I think kind of my first year in junior, second year in junior, kind of when you kind of get things rolling. Obviously, like you said, with the drafts to junior, you get a sense, and then once you start having some success in junior, you get a sense. And I think at that point, there's so many guys that have returned from draft. There's first-round picks, stuff like that you're playing against nightly, and you get a sense. And so I think kind of your whole childhood, you dream of it, and you kind of get a sense at that point.
All right, well, we appreciate you guys coming all the way here to Jersey to hang out in studio with us. And anytime anyone comes here, we make sure they go to Studio 42 on the MLB Network side and get some wiffle ball. So we got the footage. Take us through it.
Who's that guy pitching? What an arm.
Get that guy a contract.
So we'll look at this a couple times, but we're looking at you right now, Dylan. So let's break down the tape here. What do you think?
A little bit of Edwin Encarnacion, I think.
Okay, I like that.
think
Blue
there.
Jays reference?
Yeah, going the other way, it looked like to right field for the short porch.
Yeah, I mean, he's pitching inside on my hands, so
right.
had to take it to the opposite field.
Suspect pitching.
Barrett, you got the good swing going, left-handed. There's a shot.
Yeah, I think this is our BP. I think a couple better clips later on. Yeah, no.
You're saying selective editing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We had a great.
I say that every day here.
Yeah,
We had a good pitcher out there. He was throwing it tough on us, as you can see, but it was fun. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, oh, Jim, get out of the way there. Get out of the way. Yeah.
All right, so we appreciate you guys coming in. Congratulations on a solid start to the season, on making the NHL, and enjoy the rest of this long
And keep the
trip.
winning streak going.
Exactly.
You guys are rolling. You got the Devils tomorrow in New Jersey, so good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for having us on.
Are you guys a big video game team? Do you guys play a lot of video games or no?
I mean, I feel like I've always been moving, so I haven't got a chance to set up.
Fair enough. All right, enjoy the rest of your time in New York, and best of luck the rest of the season.